All right, it's 7 o'clock, so we're getting started. We mean business every way, all the way around. So we get started on time, and we're gonna keep it going. So, welcome to another episode of Are You Sure That's Right? Let me write it out for you so everybody understands what I said. Are you sure that's right? Are you sure that's right? A lot of things we believe, a lot of things we think, a lot of things we don't know we think, a lot of things that we believe or think that we don't even know where we got them from or why we think them. We just do. And we are here to inspect everything. We are here to make sure that everything that is a part of us or a part of our lives are what we have consciously chosen to be so. And because of its benefit, its promise, its because of what it provides, right? What it supports and things like that. So, are you sure that's right? Are you sure that's right? All right. So before I get going, I'll do it a little bit different again. Are there any questions about anything I have said thus far that anybody wants me to expound upon or wants clarification on or anything like that? If the answer is yes, raise your hand or just join in. If the answer is no, just put no, I guess, in the chat or say no, yell, scream, do something. But I want to make sure there's a lot of information that's passed on week to week, and there's so much more to pass on, and there's so much that's being passed on that sometimes we don't get a chance to expound upon any of it. So if the answer is no, I'll keep it pushing. If the answer is yes and somebody has something, speak now or hold your peace.
Marcus said no. And we don't have any other questions.
Okay. Are you sure that's right? Okay. All right. So I'll start off with this. Start off with that. So if you look at this, this is just a statement of being, just a statement of consciousness. I am, just I am. If I now say 18, does this apply to anyone here? Yes, no, maybe so. Does this apply to anyone here?
No.
Okay, so so in order to correct this, what will we do?
We would have to know what it's in reference to. If you're just putting up a number, what is it being used for?
Well, if somebody said how old are you, right? You would say, right? So this is a number.
So we would change the age so it would match whatever we are.
So then, okay, so I want you to say what you said again because it's important. You would change what?
The age.
So if you do that, then what are you left with?
I am.
That's who you are. If you were this, and now you're this, what happens when you're no longer that? Do you die?
We've changed.
You've changed what?
I've gotten older.
You've gotten older. Who is the I have?
Me? Wait, say that again.
Who is the I have? You said I've gotten older. Who is the I have?
Me. The I am.
That's who you are. This is how long you've been in the body you're in.
Mm-hmm.
It's not you. I tell my daughter, my greatest gift to you is to remind you of who you are. It's my greatest gift to you, is to remind you of who you are. Because once you know that, it makes everything else easily, understandably, clearly relative. What do I mean by that? 18, 19. Okay. Let's say now so instead of an age, we're going to say this. Or we'll say this. Or we'll say this. Or we'll say this. We'll go back to that. What is the difference? We started
How we
with
choose to identify.
right. Okay. So we started with this, right? And then we went to these things. What is the difference between all of these things? You said how you choose to identify. Okay. Give me something else.
The feature we're highlighting.
Okay. Nothing. None of these are you. You're not black any more than you're 18. You're not white any more than you're 18. You didn't know you were this, that, this, or the other, or you didn't know you were any of these when you were born. You didn't know where you were, what you were. All you knew is that you were. This is who you are. This is what you're in. Let me give you an example. Why is this important? But let me give you an example first. When you go on a roller coaster, right? And you want to ride the roller coaster. So you're walking up the steps and you want to get on the roller coaster because you want to ride that ride. So you're getting on the roller coaster. So when you walk up the steps and you're to the roller coaster, once you get to the roller coaster, in order to ride this ride that you want to ride, what do you have to do? Once you get up to the roller coaster to the top and you're ready and you want to get on the ride, what do you have to do? Anybody can answer. When you're going on a roller coaster and you're walking up the steps or walking down the ramp to get on this ride, what do you have to do?
Get on.
You have to get on. What does that mean? What did you do?
Step up to the roller coaster.
And then what?
Sit down.
Sit down. So you sit down in a chair, let's just say, right? Chair, bench. So you sit down. Okay, so now you're in. You're in this ride. So you're in this seat so you can be on this ride. Does that make sense so far? So, okay, but if you're in this seat to get on this ride, who were you before you got in this seat? Who were you back here? Who were you here? This is where you are now, so you can do these things. Who were you before you got in this seat? Who were you before you got on this ride?
The same person.
The
I
same
just hadn't
person.
done it.
You just haven't done it. You're the same person. So whoever you were here is who you are here and where you are and what you're doing. This is where and this is what. But this is not what are we missing on this side. This is not what, huh? Somebody say something?
That's probably me. I said, let me mute. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. So what are we missing over here? What is not over here? Right? In, on, seat, ride, where, what? What's missing over here?
Us, the
Who's
individual,
Who?
me.
The who? The you. So whoever you were before you got in this seat or on this ride to do something is who you are. Does it change when you get here? Does your name change? Does your age change? Does something change about you? No, right? So whoever you were, which is going right back to this is who you are. So this is who you are. Everything else is what you're attaching to it. Because whatever you attach to it, you give life to. Whatever you detach yourself from, whatever you take this away from, does not power the thing on this side. So when 18, you make 18 alive. When you're 19, what happens to 18? It's gone, disappears, it's irrelevant because it can't stand on its own. You give it life. You is this. So when I say, okay, so like I said, my greatest gift to my child, I tell her all the time is, my job is to remind you of who you are. Because intuitively and innately we know, but we become scrubbed of it. And we start thinking we're all these other things. We start thinking truly now that we are Black. We start thinking we're a woman. We start thinking that we are the thing we're in. This seat that you're in is a body. You came and sat in this body and strapped yourself in. This body is just like a seat. It is just something for you to sit in. It's not you. That's why you say your arm or my head. We use this body in a possessive expression because it's not us, it's ours. It's not what we are, it's where we are or what we're in. It's not us. So if you're not your body, how could you be that or this? Or how could you be this truly? How could you be 19 truly? You had to be alive before you got into this body to make it alive. Because you make the body. Body doesn't make itself. So you are in this body like a seat, right? To ride this ride called life. You strapped yourself in. It seems limiting because before you got in this seat, you could walk around the whole amusement park. But once you got in this body, right? Once you got in this seat, you strapped yourself in so that you could stay on the ride. You get in the seat and don't strap it and see how it goes when it goes around and around or when it takes off. See if you're still there. We strapped ourselves in a body in order to ride the roller coaster called life. It's not limiting. It's just what it takes to participate, to be connected with this ride we want to see, with this life we want to see, with this life that we want to live. But we are who we were before we got in the seat. The seat doesn't change who we are. The seat changes where we are and may allow us to be doing something different. It changes maybe the where and the what. It never changes the who. Never. It never changes the who. You are the same person before you got in that body or in this seat. Now, why is that important? Well, because if we don't realize that, we start inappropriately, ignorantly, incorrectly associating ourselves with something that we're in, but something that we're not. We are in, all of us, I assume most of us have cars. No matter how long you're in your Toyota, you never introduce yourself as Toyota. Well, hey, what's your name? Toyota. Really? Well, no, I just been in the car so long, I just thought I would say that. This is not who you are. This is what you're in. No matter how long you're in it, this never becomes your name. This is who you are. You can say 18. You can attach 18 to it. That's who you are, how old. You're really saying the body is. Not you, the body. That's really, you're saying this body is this age and is named Toyota. It's this age named Michelle. It's this age and it's the color of black. It's this age and the gender is a woman, just like casa in Spanish. Right? That's a female term. There's masculine and feminine terms in almost every language, except English, just about. Right? But it's just describing something. So they gave it a name. But what you describe it as, you're just trying to describe it as. But whether you describe it or can't or don't describe it properly, you don't change what it is. A 2-year-old, a 1-year-old doesn't necessarily, or let's just go back, a 6-week-old doesn't necessarily know what the sun is. It can see it, it can feel it. Doesn't matter whether you can say it or know the name of it or anything about it. Because just because you know the word or the name of something doesn't mean that you're affecting what it is. You're just trying, you just attach the words to something so that A, you're either trying to describe what it is, or B, so that everyone knows what you're talking about. So we have a body that we're sitting in like a seat so that we can ride this roller coaster of life. Why is that important? Because we start now thinking we're the seat. We start thinking that whoever we were before we got in the seat, we're somebody else now. So we go from the true being we were to now something else, to someone else. So you come on the seat as Michelle, and now you come out the seat as Lenny. And nobody knows who you are, including you now. These are just things that we are in. These are things that we're in. This is how old our body is. This is just a description of the body. It's not us. It's not the true you. That's not who you are. This is what you're in. This is where you are. But the you is always I am. That's why you can drop all these, add them, drop them, attach them. You can put anything behind it, but you can never change it. That's why when you say, oh, that's wrong, I'm 20. Oh, okay, cool. But you never change this. You just change that. That's why we have a whole bunch of racism, sexism, and all kind of other isms, right? Ism means just to keep in place. Race would be to keep the hierarchy of the race, to keep whatever the arrangement is. Sexism is to keep things in place according to sex. But we have all these things because we think we're that. We're identifying ourselves with that. But that's not who we are. That's not who we came into this seat being. So now we have basically gone from unlimited, free to walk around the park, to we decided to limit ourselves by coming in this body in order to ride this ride of life. We had to have a body to stick here. We had to get in the seat and put the seatbelt on. Otherwise, we fly out. When we come out of this body, they call it death. That's what we're trying to prevent when we buckle ourselves into the roller coaster. So That is what we came here to do in this body, is to ride this ride called life. We are not these things. We are only in these things. Our the body we have, the seat we're in is black. They may call it a silla, right? A female term or a feminine term for seat or chair in Spanish, right? You may call this, we may call ourselves a lot of things, but we're not talking about us truly, unless we're saying this. So why is that important? Because like I said, that's why there's all kind of isms and insanity in the world. That this is why this happens, because this is who we really start to identify ourselves as, because we brush it, we wash it, we comb it, we do everything with this outer thing, and we start thinking that's who we are because it's what we see. But that's not truly who we are. This is just where we are, what we're in. This is the only thing we are and ever will be. Once you understand that, then you don't limit yourself psychologically to what's possible for you. Let me give you an example. If I have a wisdom shot that basically says, even if you're taking out the trash, you're still the owner of the store. You're still the owner of the shop. Somebody walking by, see you take out the trash, they may not know who you are. But you know who you are. So no matter what, you could be taking out the trash, you could be answering the phone, you could be doing the register. Doesn't matter. These are just things you're doing. They're not who you are, they're just things you're doing. You're still the owner. You're just the owner doing all these things. Right? What happens is when we start to think that these things define us, or then we go down to the employee. We go down to a lower level now. We go down to a lower level of functioning, of identity. Right? When there's a problem at a business and the employee can't solve it, they always want to talk to the manager, right? They want to they want to go up as high up as they can go. Because they know that the owner has the ability to do anything in this circumstance or situation. Your I amness, your I am you, is the owner. This here, everybody on here, whatever our names are, is the employee. What we see is the employee. We are the representative of the owner. But we have to remember, in order to live the best life and the life that we can and should, that no matter what thing we're involved with, we never lower ourselves to the employee. Meaning, we never consciously say we are these things as our identity. We can say this is what we're doing, this is where we are, but this is not who we are. Who we are determines everything. What we do, how long we do it, how well we do it, how hard we do it, if we do it, if we don't do it, if we complain when we're doing it, if we smile when we're doing it. Who? Now, it could be who we know ourselves to be or who we believe ourselves to be. No matter what we have to remember here is, no matter what activity we're engaged in, we're not defined by the activity. Taking out the trash, answering the phone, doing the register. For an owner, what wouldn't an owner do for their business? This is your business. This is your body, your life. This is your business. Life, this is your business. You are the owner of your life. You are the owner of your business. This is your business. So what wouldn't the owner do for their business? Wouldn't they take out the trash? Wouldn't they answer the phone? Wouldn't they do the cash register? What would they do for their business? So as the owner of your life, what wouldn't you do for your life? It's dependent upon you. You are the owner of it. So we have to learn to define ourselves by who we really are. Who we really are, not what we're doing, not what we're in, not what we so-called identify ourselves with, not what, because these right here, 19, when you're 20, then what? You lost your identity, it's over. You didn't know you were this when you were 6 weeks old, whether it's a woman, man, you didn't know if you were a boy, you didn't know any of those things. You didn't know this either. These are awarenesses you pick up along the way. But the reason you didn't know them is because they're not you. They're just yours. And they're not always relevant to you. You being 6 weeks old to a baby is not relevant to you. You don't know you're 6 weeks old. It's not relevant to you. But you know that you are, meaning you are conscious, you know you're alive. That's why you cry, yell, scream, smile, even at the youngest of ages. No matter what you're doing, you're the owner. We have to understand that no matter what activity we are, it does not lower who we truly are. It's just what who we truly are is doing. It's what who we truly are is doing. It's the activity we're engaged in. It does not change our identity. We always have the power. But we give it away when we start saying, well, if I take out the trash, maybe I'm not the owner now. Maybe I'm not who I thought I was. If I answer the phone, well, the owner wouldn't do that. Why wouldn't they? It's their phone. It's their business. They're calling the thing you created. Why wouldn't you answer them? Right? So no matter what activity we're engaged in, we're the owner. This is the owner. Never, and it takes time and practice, and it's a lifestyle. It's not just 1 minute you get it and you're gone with it forever, right? It's a daily conscious choice to remember this is who you are. You're the owner of your life. It doesn't matter if you're taking out the trash, answering the phone, doing the registers. It doesn't matter if you're cleaning the dishes in the back. It doesn't matter. That does not lower you who you are. You're doing it as you are. It doesn't change who you are. We do things as we are. We make the mistake when we think what we're doing now changes who we are. That's now when we lose our power. Now we're the employee. Employees work different than owners. If it's a successful company, for sure, the owner does things out of a different motivation. Because they understand everything starts and ends with them. If there's a burglary, they're not calling the employees. If there's a fire, they're not calling the employees, they're calling the owner. This is you are the owner of your life, of your business. And no matter what you're doing, you're always the owner. And if you maintain that higher level of thinking, then what wouldn't you do for yourself? How could you think that anything that you are doing for yourself is beneath you or below you? Why would you talk crazy to yourself and you wouldn't let the employee do it? Why would you not forgive yourself and you wouldn't, like, why would we do things to ourselves we wouldn't allow someone so-called below us to do? Why would we do it? Because we forgot who we were and we start thinking we're this. We start changing our identity based on our activity. And the moral of the story is never do that. It's a mistake and it will always lead you to, to some kind of slavery, to being enslaved. You'll be locked up. You'll be arrested. Your growth will be arrested, will be stunted. Because an employee never has as much power as the owner. That's why they're two different titles. They're descriptive of two different levels of authority. Right? This is the highest level of authority. Everybody on the planet is saying it. Everybody's saying it. Then they attach something to it. I am, and then whatever they attach is what they're giving life to. This is the power source. This is the electricity. This is the power source. Whatever you attach to it, you give life to, whether it's an age, a color, a gender, or whatever else it is. But electricity is going to be electricity without a phone. But a phone is not going to be a phone for long without electricity. It's just not. When you are meeting a person, that's why I said there's racism, sexism, and all kind of other isms in the world and all kind of other foolishness based on skin color, gender, and everything else, because we believe that to be who we are when it's not. But when we meet a person, if you turn your back, if you never saw them, if you turn your back, if you just meet them over the phone, and so a lot of times we may be able to tell whether it's a man or a woman, or we may be able to tell what part of the country they're in. But if you literally just, if they had some kind of voice device and all you could understand is what they said, not how they sounded, you just see how they looked, you would still form some type of relationship. Why do we think that is? Why is that? You can have pen pals, people you never even met. Why can we form a relationship with somebody that we've never seen, even if we never heard their real voice, if it's just a computer voice? Online chatting, we do that. Why is that?
Johnny put in the chat communication.
What about it?
You can unmute Johnny if you want.
Oh yeah. So what I was saying is with communication, it's about even though we haven't seen somebody face to face, if we be able to communicate and come to a level of agreement, or we have the same ideologies, we can form a bond through that. Even if I don't see nobody like face to face. So that's
Yes,
what I
sir.
mean when I say about communication.
Yes, sir. Okay. But what you said communication.
Yeah.
That's true. But what are you communicating with? Meaning, what are you bonding over?
Our belief system, our ideologies.
So what did you just say? A belief system? You said a belief system.
Correct.
And an ideology. Can you see either one of those? Can you see a belief?
No, you can't not necessarily see it. You just like
Can you see a belief?
No, I can't visually see a belief. Not with my eyes. No.
Can you see an ideology?
No, I can't.
So then when I say we're not black, we're not white, we're not women, we're not 20, these are things you can see. You can look at a young person and say, oh, he's about 12. Oh, she's probably about 13, 14. You're basing that on something you can see. These two things you can't see, but you just said that you can have a relationship via communication based on these two things you can't see. Why is that?
Because it's a feeling.
Okay, and you can't see that either. Can you see I am?
I know I am.
Can you see it?
No.
No. So then how does so then what is all of this telling you? You can't see this, you can't see this, you can't see this, and you can't see that. So then what does this have to do with it? What does this have to do with it? What does man have to do with it? What do these things have to do with it? If everything you said you're bonding on are things you can't see, these are all things you can see, but yet you said you can form a bond, and I absolutely agree. You're absolutely right. Then what is this really saying then?
Perceptions. Perceptions don't matter.
Well, why don't they matter?
Because these are it could be, these are like stereotypes. If I'm making sense.
Okay.
Like the thing is that we identify, like what I learned is that we put labels on things, and when you put labels on something, that actually, like, we can put labels on anything. So even though I'm holding this cup, I can identify it as being a cup, or I can identify it as being a mask. and then anybody else around me can say, no, that's a cup. Everybody can identify that being a cup, but in my mind, I can just say it's a mask. And the thing is that when we put these labels on things, it's more or less still running back to our belief system. So when we put titles to things, it turns out to be what I'm gonna say. When it comes to belief system, I'm gonna structure it the right way. But basically, I'm just saying that we're the ones that put the titles on everything, in a nutshell.
Okay. And there's nothing wrong with putting titles on things, especially things that you can see in your physical world, right?
Correct.
See, the mind is built for two different things. One is your five sense mind. The other one is your spirit mind, your I am mind. That's why all of these, your I am, you can't see. Your true self, you've never seen. As far as like, you're not looking at it in the mirror. You're looking at your representative. You're looking at the things you can see. You're not looking at you. You're looking at your representation, right?
So,
it's not you, right? So what I'm saying is that when this I am is invisible, belief, ideology, feeling is invisible. The reason why we can form a communication because we're not meeting a person, we're meeting a mind. That's who we're meeting. We're meeting a mind. That is what we're agreeing with or disagreeing with. We fooled ourselves like the employee to think we're disagreeing with a Black person or a woman or a 19-year-old or a this. That's not actually what we're disagreeing with. Now, we'll blame our disagreement on that because that's easy. It's easy to go by what we see. We've been trained and conditioned since we were children. And in our physical world, that is important. When you see a car coming and you're walking, you should see it. I hope you see it, right? But we're taking that, and which I'll get to in a little bit, but we're taking that part of our mind everywhere, too many places. And so we're trying to use it for things it's not actually supposed to be used for. So we're now saying we're judging everything on what we can see. Like you said, we're putting labels on everything. And that's good to a certain degree, because when you say, oh man, look at the sun, I don't want to look down at the concrete. I have to know what it is that we're talking about. So that's okay. Or you may say the sun because you're like, oh man, the sun is hot. Well, we've agreed that the sun has certain behaviors or whatever. So I understand what you're saying. But the point is that when you're meeting a person, when I say you're not Black, a woman or this or that, I'm not crazy. I'm not saying like you actually don't have a body, right? That you're in and that you are washing and bathing and that you are feeding and clothing and housing and things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's what you're in. That's not who you are. And who you are is basically stored in your mind. Your consciousness. That's why you can get along with someone, right, who you've never seen and who you may never see.
In the chat, Johnny responded, are supposed to tap into the spiritual.
Well, you can't tap into the spiritual. You are spirit. You can't, like when somebody says I'm spiritual, you have what does that mean? You don't have another choice. That's like them saying I'm alive. Well, you're talking, aren't you? I mean, what else could you be? I mean, am I missing something? But that's my point, is that we don't understand that the body is one thing and who you are is another. And that who you are is what makes the body alive. So in order to talk, you need a body, as far as like that when you're talking to someone else, right? In order, like if you're talking to someone else, you need a body. If you are just talking to yourself, all you have to do is be conscious. They're both communication. One is non-verbal, one is verbal. But the non needs a physical thing here. We have to get in this seat. We can't ride this roller coaster ride without this body. But this body is not us. It's ours. We have to understand that, because that's what's causing all the confusion, all the pain, feeling like we're actually the owner, but we feel like the employee. Right? So give you another example, and we're going to do some demonstrations everybody can participate in, so we get a better understanding. But so when I say we're the owner, right, But by the way we think, we lower ourselves to the employee because of our activities. So here's the word responsible. Everybody can see it. Responsible. What is this word? What is this word? And I don't mean by definition solely. What does this word mean? Anybody raise your hand, put it in the chat, kick screen, but here we participate. So somebody say something. What is this word? What do we mean by this word? What does this word actually mean?
Johnny put in the chat, react.
Okay. Who else?
Or he said react or respond with ability.
Okay, that's pretty good. Who else?
Protect or take care of.
Protect or take care of. Okay. So then, all those different things, what allows you to be this? What allows you to protect or take care of something? Johnny, you were pretty close too, actually.
Johnny put, are you supposed to tap into, oh wait, no, sorry, that was me. Ownership, he put.
Ownership. Okay. This is, right, but this is a state of being. When you say, are you responsible? Or be responsible. This is a static state. This is a state of being. What allows you to be in this state? When you say somebody's irresponsible, right? What allows you to be in this state?
Your mind.
Okay. So what does your mind have to do in order to be this? What does your mind have to be capable of? Yeah, this is school, y'all. This is it. I'm the teacher, and there ain't nobody sitting in the back sleep. There ain't nobody in the back talking to friends, passing notes, trying to keep your head down like I don't see you in the back. This is not that party.
Is it like the way you think about it?
Yeah, okay, but so the way you think about it makes you what? How you think about it, or the way you think about it makes you what? Determines your what?
Your experience.
All right, 10 more seconds and then I'll give us the answer. Anybody else?
Help me out, guys.
All right. Johnny, you were pretty close. In order to be responsible, that's a state. You have to be response-able. You have to be able to respond to in a way that allows you to protect, that allows you to have ownership. No one can be responsible without being response-able. Why do you think people shirk responsibility? Why do you think people don't? Why do you think people feel? Why do you think people don't like to, aren't really that great with responsibility in general?
They lack consequential thinking.
But if you don't have this ability, what are you going to do? If I don't have money to buy food, I know I'm going to starve. Do I lack the ability to understand that consequence?
No, but they have to be motivated to do something about it.
Correct. But if they're not, but motivation is great, but that still doesn't give you ability. That still doesn't give you this part, this part, this part. This part is not about motivation and everything else. This part here is about preparation. It's about preparation. You have to be prepared to be responsible because you have to be response-able. You have to be able to respond. You have to have the skills. You have to have the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding. You have to be prepared to respond.
Johnny enter in the chat becoming.
Yeah, yeah, that's what practice does. That's why everything is practicing, because you're conditioning your ability to be response-able so you can live in the state of responsible. So many people have a problem with responsibility because they're not response-able. They know they're not prepared. They know they don't have the means or the way. But how do you gain the means of the ableness if you don't know who you are? An owner knows that their ability to respond is greater than the employees. They know that. So what they do or what they do as a result is going to be with more authority than the person who knows less or who has less. So here what we're doing is preparing ourselves to be response-able, right? So we can handle our responsibility in life as the owner, realizing that we are the owner of our life. And if we're the owner, we have to start learning how to take control and understanding. And the first way to do that is understanding that we're the owner of who we are. So then we can be responsible for this life, this thing we have, this business we have. So many people don't want the responsibility of something because they're not responsible. They know they don't have what it takes. And they don't know how they're going to get it, when they're going to get it, where they're going to get it. So they just say, well, you know, I don't know how to do that. It ain't my fault. Or I don't know how to do that. Somebody else has got to do this for me, or whatever else it may be. So they don't want the responsibility. They don't have the ability to be responsible because they're not responsible. You have to start here. Right? So and that's what we talk about here is who are we, what are we, where are we, and all the other things. So in preparation to be able to respond. That's different than reacting. Reacting is just when you just respond is when something happens and you calculate your response, what you do as a result. But the more tools you have, the more able you are. And so it changes your response. You have more options. Ability gives you options. It gives you options in what you do, how much you get paid for it, where you live. The more ability you have, the more able you are, the more say in your world you have in whatever area you're applying that ability to. Right? So when I said at the beginning, right, and thank everyone for their participation because this is how we learn. Right? This is how we learn. We're coming together in reasoning. That's why I say we have to participate. Because this is not just me talking to you, right? This is me. I'm talking to you, but I'm talking with you. We're all coming together in reasoning. That's why I want you to participate. You're not just here for 2 hours to sit there and be like, whoa, that was good, and then go off about your day. And because you didn't participate, you didn't actually think about it. You're not actually digesting it, reflecting on it, and taking it yourself. And then playing with it yourself, thinking about it yourself, and putting your own sauce on it, putting your own spin on it, making it real and relevant to you so that you can apply it in your life today.
Johnny put in the chat, ability gives you options is a bar.
Right? So this is important. So now we're going to do something. And I actually got this one from KRS-One, the rapper. He said some really pretty interesting things on some things that I've watched. But he does this one experiment that I think all of us can do today to really, we're talking about this, right? but this is all cool and all, that's cool, but what's that got to do with my money, my health, my taxes, with everything else, right? And so we're first understanding this and then learning how to apply it, right? Learning how, and this is not me, it's not you, it's all of us. So this isn't I'm this and you're something else. We're all of this. Then whatever we attach a name, an age, where it is, what it does for a living. But we're all of this. We're all this. Right? So this is what we're going to do. Right? Even if you don't turn on your microphones, we're going to say all of us have a name. We're going to say our name 3 times out loud. Not loud, but just loud enough for you to hear it. Okay. We're going to say it 3 times. Right? I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to say our name out loud 3 times. On the 4th time, we're going to do it 4 times total. On the 4th time, we're going to say our name, but just not out loud. We're just going to say it to ourselves. All right. Everybody understand? You don't have to yell. Don't wake everybody in the house up. Don't make everybody mad at you while you're trying to get ahead. You don't want to get behind. Right? All right. So 3 times, 1, 2, 3, boom, 1, 2, 3, boom, 1, 2, 3. And then on the 4th time, we're going to say it, but we're just going to say it to ourselves. All right. Now I want you to notice something. All right. All right. First time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Lucky. We just say our name.
Oh, okay.
All right. That's 1. 1, 2, 3. Lucky.
Right.
1, 2, 3. Lucky.
Right.
Okay. Now the 4th one. Say it to yourself. 1, 2, 3. All right. Show of hands or on the chat or say something. Who heard themselves the 4th time?
Me. Tiffany has her hand up. Dawn has her hand up.
Everybody should have their hand up. This is not taking that long. This is not rocket science.
Said she did. Yeah.
Okay. So the 3 times you said it, you heard it. The 4th time you said it, you heard it. How did you hear it if you didn't say it? How did you hear it if it didn't come out of your mouth? You can't hear something that you can't hear. So then how did you hear it if it didn't come out of your mouth? The 4th time, how did you hear it? Why is everybody raising their hand? We didn't say anything. So then how did we hear it?
Internal chatter.
So what's the key word in that sentence?
Internal
Nope.
chatter.
Nope.
Your.
This is why we're losing in life. Because the answer is your, and it's the last thing all of us say. We think it's the black man's fault, the white man's fault, the Democrats' fault, the Republicans' fault. We think it's women's fault. We think Black Lives Matter. We think they don't. We think Blue Lives Matter and they don't. We think we literally will attach our outcome to everything but the your, but the I, but the me. We'll look at ourselves last. Have you ever, I don't know, I mean, some of my friends and I used to say this, like, you ever been to school, you ever go to school or you're with a close group of friends and somebody shows up and it's like, man, what are you wearing? Like, did you get dressed in the dark? Like, did you even see what you look like? Has that ever happened to anybody? Nobody has any friends. Everybody's on here, but nobody has any friends. Is that what we're saying? Right? So when we're saying, did you get dressed in the dark, right? What we're saying is, did you look at yourself? Did you look in the mirror? Looking in the mirror is not looking at yourself. Looking in the mirror is looking at yourself as far as a reflection, but you can't see you, so you have to look at something to see you. But a lot of us don't look in the mirror. That's why your was the last one. We all do it. Your, that means your internal chatter. Your is you. That is you. When you said something and you didn't say it audibly and you still heard it, that's you.
In the chat, Johnny had responded intuition, and then Amber responded, I heard it because I thought it.
Yes, because you don't have to hear something audibly, because That is your body. That is something you're using. It's not you. You are your internal chatter. That's you. That is the real you. That is this. This is the one that's opening your mouth, like you open the oven to put something in it or take something out of it. The you is using your body, your mouth, to open it up to say something out of it. Your mouth doesn't say anything. Your eyes don't see. Your eyes are like a windshield. You see through them. They don't see. This is the only thing that sees. This is the only thing that sees. Your eyes don't see. Your ears don't hear. That's not the way it works. You're using your ears, your eyes, your nose. All of these things are your resources. They are things that you use to express yourself to the outer world, like a blinker on a car. How do you know what somebody's going to do? They turn right, they put their blinker on. You're mad if they don't. Right? Or they put their right blinker on and they turn left. Now everybody's messed up. They say something that wasn't true. Everybody's messed up. Right? This, your mouth, your eyes, your ears, all these things are resources for you to express yourself to the outside world. But you don't need to do that as far as to be you. That is you. What you heard is you. What you hear, what you're hearing with your auditory is you through your mouth. You're using your body to communicate. So when you say, I just can't help myself, yeah, that's cat. It's true. At that moment, you can't, because you haven't trained yourself, conditioned yourself. You just think like this thing is that, but that's like getting in the car and saying, well, the car just took me where it wanted. Everybody would be like, okay, you need to call somebody. Yeah, it'll be okay. The voices will stop soon. Everybody will think you're insane. But nobody thinks you're insane when you say the same thing about this body that you've been in your whole life and this car you just bought even if you have it 10 years. You had to be 16 before you got a license in most places. So you've been alive longer than this car, but your car is out of control, but you can't control yourself. How does this even work? What are we talking about? Right? What you heard when you said that was you. That's the real you. And guess what? You didn't have, nothing came out of your mouth. And just like you said, it was internal. That's you. You are on the inside. You can't see yourself. You're looking at your representation. So when you say I'm black, I'm this, I'm that, yes, you're saying that I'm in a black body, or I'm in the body of a woman. Yes, but that's not who you are. It's not who you are. Everybody's arguing over something they're not. Like when we talk about like gangsters are fighting over a street they don't even own. We're doing the same thing. We're fighting over bodies that ain't even us. We're just fighting over, that's like you literally going up and being racist against somebody because they got a white car. I mean, that's why we do, this is why we're here, like to talk about real stuff. Like, how do we apply this thing that it seems like in the clouds floating? Like, what does this really mean? Oh man, I don't like that man because he driving a white car. Like, what's it? That's it? That's it? Like, I mean, does the color slap you? Does the color rob you? I mean, does just the color is that what we on? That it's just right. But it's because this is what we think we are. We think we are what we attach ourselves to, whether it's an age or a color or a gender or Republican or Democrat. We're going to war over all kinds of things that we give life to. As a 3-year-old, what a Democrat is, they won't know because it's not important. They know how to tell you they're hungry, whether they're 3 or 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. They know how to get your attention because that's what matters. All the other stuff is what we give meaning to. Like I believe Jonathan was saying, like if we call this a cup, yeah, it doesn't matter what we call it, just because it doesn't change. It doesn't change how it functions. It only matters what we call it, because everybody will understand when you say go get me a cup, they won't come back with a computer. But it doesn't change how it functions. So words only matter in the point that they're descriptors. but they become all important when they actually describe your true intention, what you believe yourself to be. Right? So that's you. This is you. What you heard was you. This is you, what you heard. You don't have to talk to hear yourself. People talk to themselves all the time. It's a natural thing. We can't not do it. We're talking to ourselves all the time. Sometimes we'll use our mouth to express it, but a lot of times, what do you think thinking is? What do you think that is? Just talking to yourself. What do you think it is? That's what you're doing. But according to what you're saying and what you're thinking, now you're going to use your body to express that in the outer world because that's what you came here for. You came here. This is nothing but a big old Disneyland. Well, on the West Coast, that's what we call it, right? A big old amusement park. And we came here to do a bunch of different things, right? That's all we're using our body for, is to express ourselves. Just like a car, just like blinkers, just like crying. If you look at everything that we want to express ourselves comes out. Whether it's words, tears, sweat, doesn't matter. It comes from the inside out because you are the person pushing it out. It's an expression of you. You don't sweat in, you don't cry in, right? You don't talk in. Everything goes from the inside out. Right? So these are important things to understand. That's why we did that. And your was dead last. You are dead last. This is dead last. We give all the power to being a Democrat, a Republican, white, black, old, graduate. We give all the power to all these things that cannot be alive without this. So we're looking at this, thinking that this is doing everything, and it's not. It can't be alive without us. And the thing what we are that makes this alive, we don't even pay attention to, dead last. We never look in the mirror. We never look at ourselves and say, dude, this is me. Like we never look at ourselves. We live in the dark, forgetting dressed in the dark. We're having one bad day at school, one bad day at work, one bad day at the club. Well, they're like, oh, girl, you look nice. Girl, you see her? I don't know. Maybe she's going through something. Hey, girl. Like, man, I don't know what dude is wearing. He think he's so sweet in those. Dude, those are trash. What is it? Homie? Whew. Man, those are sweet. Where'd you get those? Come on, man. We all did it. Everybody, let's not do it. It's not even Sunday, so we ain't got to act like we're holy and we ain't done it. We've all done it. It's Saturday, so it's okay to tell the truth. Yes, it's okay to tell the truth. I can tell my brother the truth that when we were younger, I used to steal a couple dollars or two because I was always broke because I spent my money too fast. My brother had way more discipline than I did, so I had to take a couple dollars because I need to go to the Boys Club and make it last. But it's Saturday, so I'm giving a little time for Sunday so you can forgive by Sunday. Sometimes you gotta give people time. But it was only $2 or $3, so I'm gonna send that back to you though. Don't worry about that. But it wasn't a lot. So don't try to put, and there's no interest. There's no interest. Forgive. Right? But yeah, this is why we're here. We have to understand some things, right? And there's a lot of things that we don't realize, right? And that's why we're here, is to realize some things. Okay. Now.
Mom's is laughing.
Hey, man. I could never find your purse. It was always something, I don't know. But anyway, or maybe I didn't want to find it.
No.
Yeah, I'm probably better off to say it. All right, so we talked about, so now we're talking about, let's talk about us, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, right? Developing the I. Like, who are we? What are we? And all the other stuff, right? So when someone asked me last week, like, they asked me, how do I grow my business? Now, because I'm talking to, a bunch of you guys out here, I'm giving general answers, right? So it's like, I've trained basketball for years. So when somebody says, oh, how do I get better at basketball? Well, it's like, well, there's general answers like, work on your handle, work on your shooting, work on your technique, work on your footwork, work on your conditioning, whatever else it is. But in order to answer your question directly, I have to know you directly. I have to see you shoot. I'll be like, I'll throw you a ball, like, okay, let me see you do this, or I'll have to see really what skills you have and which ones you don't. And depending on what you want your end result to be, then I'll tell you what you need to practice or how long you need to practice or whatever else it is. But now that we have a better understanding, just a little bit of something, how do I grow my business? So look at this sentence. What do you think? What do you think the answer is? What does anybody think the answer is?
You guys can enter the chat or unmute. Johnny said we have to grow.
So what part of this sentence is most important? What part or parts are most important?
I and my
There you go. Who was that?
Tiffany.
Jesus? Man, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Yes. Because your business is a reflection of your I and mind. It's a literal reflection. It's yours. So when you have a child, don't they look like you or the other person? If not, something's not right. I don't know if Maury Povich is around, but I don't know how old but Maury used to catch some people. You are not the father, right? Or you are. There's some people who have some real good days, people have some bad days. But Maury was catching everybody, had the manila envelope and sit on the chair and slide the paper out. Yeah, there's some people just, I bet them seats were real wet. They're just sweating the seat through, waiting to get that envelope. Pull the paper out, right? Yeah, man. There's some people running off the stage in joy and tears. People hitting the ground because they know child support coming, or hitting the ground because they get to keep their little change. I can get some rims on my car now. Come on, man. Right? So your business is like your child. It's like your body. It's like everything that is yours. It's a reflection of you. If you want this to grow, your business to grow, the I and my of yourself, which means your self-concept has to grow. You have to become the person who has a business the size you want. The reason you want something is because it is here and you currently are here. Your desire is the magnet. It's the thing that wakes you up to this thing over here. But you're separated from it. You're not it. You don't have it. Right? So your desire is the driving force that makes you want to go there. Just like your desire to eat makes you go to the store, or makes you go to get something to eat somewhere, or makes you cook. Your desire brings you into oneness with the desired outcome. It brings you as you are to you as you want to be, which is maybe full or rested or whatever else it is. So this desire brings you here. But you have to become this person. You have to go from here to what you are now to become the person who is this. This person over here is over here. Why is this person over here? What is the difference? What is this gap right here? This line? What is this reflective of? There's a gap here. There's where you are and where you want to be. What is the difference between this person and this person?
Identity.
What forms an identity?
Your idea of yourself, so you.
Yeah, but when you say cake, chocolate cake This is chocolate cake. Now you want some German chocolate cake. What's the difference?
Frosting.
Pretty good. And let's say that, okay, so let's change it again, right? So let's say it's lemon cake.
Okay.
Let's say it's lemon cake. What is the difference?
The flavor.
What is, how do you get that? Yeah, these answers are right, but we have to drill all the way down to have an understanding of how to get what we want.
Not flavor.
Yeah, is it, hello?
The ingredients.
The ingredients.
Oh,
The ingredients makes a difference. You can't, if you say cake, cool. What kind of cake? Cool. Well, then if I said chocolate cake and lemon cake, do they look the same? Well, then, but why don't they look the same? Because the ingredients are different. What you put together makes the outcome different. These are two different identities, but what forms an identity? Right? Your thoughts form an identity. Your beliefs form an identity, right? Your feelings form an identity. Then these create habits, behaviors, right? Attitudes, things like that. I know you can't see, but you heard what I said, so it's all right. Right? This person has different, they may be completely different. They may be just greater. They may be, but they are, this person over here is different than this person here. This person over here who has a business, but they want to grow their business. So that means if you want to grow, there's a journey that you have to go on now. Psychologically, you have a journey you have to go on. Because this person thinks different. That's why they're producing something different. The ingredients are different. And you have to go on a journey to become this person psychologically. What happens, what most people try to do to create this journey or to go on this journey is do what? Somebody else. Do what? What do most people do? It's a famous word. Where did all the people go?
they're here.
What do people try to do to go from here to here? This is a psychological journey. It's literally nothing but a shift in mind. That's really what it is. But what do people do? Man, how come nobody is guessing? There's nothing wrong with being wrong. We wrong every day. You guys wrong every day. And now all of a sudden we don't want to be wrong.
Work,
Say something, huh?
work.
Work? What do rappers say?
In what sense?
Like, what do they say? When the word work, they don't say that. What do they say? Grind. There you go. There you go. Boy, this is the word of the I think of the decade. And everybody glorifies it. I mean, well, people can't wait to tell you how much they do it and how long they do it. But if there's brakes on a car, you pass. Hey man, can I get a ride? Man, you know my brakes are grinding. Man, they've been grinding for 3 weeks straight. I mean, I don't even give them a pass on it. I mean, I just step on them just for fun. No, that's it. I grind. I work for 3 weeks straight. I ain't slept in 4 days. I don't even shower. I don't even bathe. I don't even waste no time in the water. I'm just all out here. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. Okay, but let's ask the question about anything in nature. Does the sun look like it? Does the sun look like it has a hard time to you? Does the rain look like it's struggling to come down? Because I don't know where everybody else is, but in California, no, it's coming down like Black Friday. Like they didn't give some kind of discount, and Noah's Ark is around the corner somewhere. No, because it's raining just for fun. Just like, ah, here's some more rain. Ah, how about that? Right? Does it look like it's hard for the grass to grow? Does it look like it's hard for the leaves to come back in spring? So then where did this whole concept come from? Where did the whole grind concept come from? That we now ignorantly glorified. Ignorant is not the same thing as stupid. Ignorant means lack of knowledge. Out of our ignorance, we grind. But the creator of the sun, the moon, the stars, which is what this is. So get over it. This is what you are, because you say it all the time, and that's the creator of everything. When did we go from the creator of life to making a living? That's a long way down. I mean, the Jeffersons were moving on up, and we didn't turn around and pass them in the stairway and be like, hey, what's up? And we going down. They're like, yeah, you can have it down there if you want. You can have all of it down there. We're going to the penthouse apartment in the sky. Why do you think George was on there getting his groove on? Because down there, it was kind of whack. Up top, it's looking sweet up here. In that penthouse apartment in the sky, the lady on the show singing and everything. She might have been going up there with him because she was singing it real good, real nice, real happy about it. Moving on up, and we moving on down. How did we go from the creator of life to making a living? How did we go from the sun coming up and down every day on time without your help, without anything, to grinding? How did we get to that? When you get a brand new car, are your brakes grinding? I mean, when did we start worshiping the stupid? This is, you know what? A famous thing I have to say. Stop the cap. This is just absurd and insane. When did we go from creating life to making a living? When do we go from the owner to the employee? Hell, we're not even in the employee now. Now we're just like a temp worker. We don't even have no benefits.
Johnny put in the chat, lost sense of identity.
Yeah. And how do we do that? We lose our sense of identity when we start to define ourselves by our activity instead of our true identity. We start to define ourselves by what we see in the mirror, whether it's a color, a gender, by what we do for a living, by what school we went to, by what neighborhood we went to, or that we live in, or whatever. We start to define ourselves by all the physical things. But what do we talk about? You don't even meet a person physically, you're meeting their mind. Everything that makes what you see is invisible. Everything, write it down. Press record on your phone. Listen closely. Everything you see physically is made by something or created or expressed by something you don't see. Has anybody seen the wind? Anybody see it? But you can see what it blows, right? You can see what it blows. You can't, so what it moves, you see, but you don't see it. We express ourselves through our body, but we don't see ourselves, our true self, right? Everything you see physically is made by something you don't see. So now, you'll be more prepared to handle this one. Try to write it big so that everybody can see it. Can everybody see it? Somebody tell me, what does that say? Somebody, and hurry up because time is going fast.
Imagination creates reality. Imagination creates reality.
Cool. All right, next, somebody else. What does that mean? What do you think it means? And hurry up because we ain't got all night. Got to get to work. You got to know what I mean. What does that mean? And that's good. I don't like to rush you because it is important that you think before you speak. We're so used to talking without thinking. That's why it's everything but yours always last. Thinking's always last. We're always doing something physically before we think. What does somebody think this means? Cello, anyone?
Mom says your thinking creates your reality.
What is reality? Anyone?
Thoughts, ideas, and suggestions.
Reality is thoughts, ideas, and suggestions. Reality is the outcome of those. So reality, it means a lot of different things, but I'm gonna shorten it up. What you don't see creates what you call what you do see. Everything that you see physically was created by something you didn't see. Everything. So when I said last week, this is not positive thinking, this is not motivational speaking, this is an attempt to inspire you to think for you to think for yourself. This is not motivation speaking. This is not positive thinking. It's just the only thing there is called thinking. So everything you see is created first by something you don't see. Let's give an example. Everybody right now is sitting in a house of some kind. You know, some kind of building, house, apartment, doesn't matter. You're sitting in a house. Okay, let's back that up. What comes before this house? Before you get to sit in this house, what built this house? What do they use to build this house?
A plan.
A plan. Okay. Can you see the plan? Can you see a plan?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So then what created the plan?
The person's mind. Imagination.
Can you
Their
see a
imagination.
mind, imagination? Right. Can you see that?
No.
So the thing you don't see created the things you do see. So the thing you're sitting in right now started with the thing you didn't see. So then how is your internal chatter? Why is the your last? Why do we say this last when we just realize it's actually first? This thing you're sitting in does not exist without this thing. This thing that you see here does not exist without this thing that you can't see. This is the creator of that. This is not the creator of that. It doesn't go this way. It goes this way. Imagination. This house is what you now call reality. Okay, but if this is reality and it's the end, then what created the reality? This thing that you call reality that we give so much credit and praise for, that we have appraisals for, we sell houses, buy houses, we do all kinds of things. What this reality, so to speak, well, the mind, the imagination created it. So when you say, I want to grow my business, a business is no different than a house. But the problem is we're trying to do this without a plan. Then we're trying to do it because we haven't went to our mind and figured out what the plan is. But the plan is just the expression of the mind of the idea. Let me show you how that works. Everybody here everybody here loves a good hookup, right? You'd be like, oh man, the new Jordan's coming out, man. I haven't bought Jordans in a long time, but back in the day, right? The new Jordan's coming out. My boy works at Foot Locker, man. So he gonna, set me a pair or two to the side, and I'm gonna hook him up. He gonna hook me up. Everybody loves a good hookup. Everybody loves a sale. Everybody loves to get something that they couldn't get, either without it or that they don't have to pay full price or something like that, right? Is that correct? Raise your hand, shout, yell, something. Right? Everybody with me? Okay. Now I'm gonna give you a little bit of I'm gonna hook you up. Your imagination is the greatest hookup you'll ever have. It's the greatest. Okay, look, everybody sit down, stand up, sit down, pay attention, catch it. Your imagination is the greatest hookup you'll ever have. It's gonna let that sink in. So let that sink in a little bit. It's like food, and you put some seasoning. Sometimes you gotta let it just sink in for a minute. You gotta let it sit overnight. It tastes better the next morning, right? So you gotta let it, just marinate a little bit. We don't want to rush it. Your imagination is the greatest hookup you'll ever have. First of all, let's just get to the brass tacks, because everybody loves something for what? Free. Well, guess what? How much does it cost you to use your imagination to imagine? Can you imagine when we have kids, or you have kids, them little jokers are expensive, are they not? And they're running around playing cowboys and Indians, cops and robbers and everything else. They're using their imagination all the time. Can you imagine how much that would cost us if we had to have like a membership for their imagination? Like minutes on a phone? Like, man, you better stop imagining. Man, you better do something different. You better cut that off. And you let somebody else use your plan. You let somebody else think some stuff up. Well, no, I ain't paying for that. Can you imagine if we had to pay for that? Wait, man, you couldn't pay. You just be like, man, I just quit. I just go stick with what I got. Your imagination is the greatest hookup in the world. First of all, it's free. Second of all, you don't have to worry about haters. You don't have to tell anybody what you're imagining. They can't see it. And if they can, you got a bigger problem than that. If they can see in your mind and see what you're imagining, you already in trouble. You living with an X-Man or some kind of superhero or something. You need to take that person to the circus or to or something. Try to get paid. No one can see what you're imagining. So you don't need anyone's help. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need anyone's support. You can imagine whatever you want. Number one, it's free. Number two, nobody got to be in your business. You can imagine whatever you want for yourself. Number three, your imagination, let's just say, is the brain of the voice that you heard, even though you didn't say anything out loud. It's the mind at work of your true self. So that means you can imagine anything. And anything that we have imagined has come into physical expression. A house, a cell phone, going to the moon, a submarine you can live underwater, electric cars, how to use electricity, clothes, TVs, watches, and everything else. Everything that we physically have came from this one same place. Period. Next. No one can tell you no. Like, everybody has one. They can't take yours away. They can't make you sell it. They can't buy it from you. You came in with it and you'll go out with it because it is your true self, your true mental faculty, the real you in action, thinking, believing itself to be what it is or what it's doing or what it's having. That's what you're doing in your body, believing yourself to be Marcus or Jonathan or whomever else. You're believing yourself to be that. How do we know that's true? Well, if we go to the movies, we know the movie's not real. Why are people in there crying? Why are people in there clapping when it's over? Why are people booing? Why are people laughing? Well, because in a great movie, a great actor becomes one with the part to the point that you forget that they're Denzel. Denzel's probably my favorite actor. You forget, you know it's Denzel before you got in. How did you forget that quick? But when he was playing Training Day, I forgot. When he was playing American Gangster, my, right? When he was doing this or that, you forgot. He became one with that character. So he believed himself to be it. So guess what you did? The same thing. You believed him to be it too. You are imagining that you are this person, this body, this age. That's what makes it alive. That's what makes it real, just like the house. You're imagining yourself to be something. You're imagining yourself to have something. Right now, how do you know what you're imagining? Take a look in the mirror. Take a look at every area of your life. That's what you're imagining. That's what you're giving life to through your imagination. That house that somebody built, right? When I asked somebody, said, there's a plan. Okay. Well, it's somebody's plan. Then whose is it? But if it's your house, or when people say, get out my house, right? If it's your house, if it's your life, if it's your body, if it's your money, if it's your health, then guess whose plan it is? Yours, even if it's not yours. Meaning it's your plan, whether it's one you came up with or whether you gave your imagination to someone else's. It's still yours. It was your authority to give to someone else. You decided to follow somebody else's plan. You had the power, you decided. So this house is nothing but what we see. Your money is nothing but what you see. Your body, your health, your relationships are nothing but what you see. If everything that you see comes from what you don't see, then everything is coming from what you don't see. And that's this right here. What you're imagining, what you're believing to be real and true, you're giving life to. Because that's the power you are. So if you want a house, then you have to have a plan. A plan is an idea put on paper so that somebody outside of you can see it. But then who created the idea? Guess who it is again? You. So when I tell people that I work with, hey, guess what? This is one of the first things you have to understand. You are the most important person in your life. Boy, people have a heart attack, wake up, they die, then they wake up. And they ask some more questions, then they die again, then they come back, they done resurrected like 4 times in 10 minutes. Can't believe it. But it's true. You're the common denominator, you're the only one. All things being equal, your parents die before you, your kids die after you, your brother and your sister, they're either before you or after you. It doesn't matter what you pick. You're the only one going through with you the whole time. In math, they call that the common denominator. Guess who that is? You. So if you're the common denominator, that means you're the most important factor in the equation. You are the most important factor in the equation. This is not emotional. This is not personal. This is factual. And if you don't know you, if you don't take care of you, if you don't look in the mirror to see what you look like, to check on yourself, if it's internal chatter is first, then the your gets lost, gets dropped, gets left behind, and it's like a 5-year-old at an amusement park looking around for their parents. It went from fun to frightening fast. It was all fun until you looked up and you were like, wait a minute, hey, wait. And you start to get a little hungry, then you start to get a little worried. You're like, oh, wait a minute. Now you're going to call somebody on the microphone. Well, the parent of so-and-so, yeah, the parent of you, this, I am. Imagination is just I am in action. Shun, right? Just action. It's the act of something. Your imagination is the thing you heard that you didn't hear that you heard in action, believing itself to be. It's now like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go do that. I am is like right now you're sitting here listening. Imagination is when you get up and do something. Right? So your imagination is the greatest hookup. It can show you how to get a bigger business, a better business. It can show you because it is your true self at your highest level of thought in action. It doesn't require you to have all the things that humanity requires you to have because it's not governed by humanity. It's the creator of it. The owner could walk up to the register, take all the money out the register, slap everybody 5 and be like, I'll see you tomorrow. Who is he stealing? Who is he or she stealing from? The owner can do that. The employees can. The owner is not governed by the same rules the employees are. You are the owner of your life. You're not governed by the body you're in, only when you don't know better. And most of us don't know better. We think we are what we're in, and we're not. Whatever you can imagine that you can see in your mind as true for you, as real for you, if you will hold that thought, just like when you have that house, there's a plan. That plan is a reflection of your mind, of an idea you have in your mind. Well, the idea that you have in your mind, you put on a plan. So all the workers are working off this plan. They come every day to work off this plan. They're coming every day to work off, to physically create this house that's a reflection of your mind. So if you hold that thought in your mind of you being something, doing something, or having something, whether it's the health you want, a house is just the same thing as health. It's just a thing that you step into to give life, and that's why it's called yours. It's as big as you have. It's as big as you are. It's as big as you can afford. Your health is as big as you can afford. It's a reflection of you. So if you, whatever in your mind you can see, say, what do I want to be? Most people don't sit around and say, what do I want to be? They sit around and say, man, I wish I could. Oh, man, it's too late. Oh, man, Most people are more passionate about their misery than they are their success. They're more passionate. They will go into a dissertation. They will go into a thesis about how bad it is, how long it's been bad, whose fault it is, how come it ain't your fault, and this or that. You're more passionate about losing than you are winning. But a lot of it is because we're not response able. We don't know how to change it. We don't know that we can change it. We don't know that we should change it. We don't think we have the power to change it at best. So then guess what we don't want to be? Responsible. Why would you? And most of us have lives that we feel responsible for and no authority or ability in. I know it's mine, but what? But what? We get it. We come here every Saturday to have conversations. I'm not just talking at you. I'm not talking at you. I'm talking with you. I may be doing most of the talking, but I'm living the same life. Half the stuff I talk about up here are my own hard knocks, my own stuff that I've had to learn. Like, hey, I thought I was. No, this is what it is. Right? We talk about all these things, and the more time you spend with yourself and the more time you spend thinking, life opens itself up to you. Revelation, it reveals things to you. It will talk to you. You'll be able to hear yourself. You are the creator of life. And we run around trying to worry about how to make a living. All of us. Some of us are a little better at it than others, a little further than others, but we've all either done it or doing it, or making sure, or trying not to go backwards, so to speak. Because this is a lifestyle. This isn't like show up on Saturday and you good for the rest of the week and you don't have to think about nothing. No, we're constantly thinking. We're constantly imagining. What we do here is do it on purpose. Consciously meaning on purpose. We are consciously, unconsciously thinking, most of us. We're just thinking about what we're not thinking about. Because those thoughts are just called habitual. They're habits. We're just on autopilot. We think the same thing, eat the same thing, get up at the same time, go at the same time. We do everything. If you look at your life when you get off the phone this weekend. Go Monday through Friday and go through your day. And you'll realize like 90% of it's the same. You do the same things in the same order at the same time for the same amount of time, 90% of it. We all have the capacity to change. Most people don't. Many studies have said after 35, people generally don't change much unless it's a catastrophe. Or you win, it's like something big, cataclysmic, like you win the lottery, or somebody died, or you almost died, or you got fired, or you got really sick, or you moved. Something big had to happen. Most people don't change much after 35. They don't. That's just studies have shown that to be true. I believe it to a large degree. Not that we can't, but just because we can doesn't mean we have to. Doesn't mean we have to. Right? Here's an example. What we can do and what we actually do. If there's a tree, how does a tree survive? Like, actually think about that. How does a tree survive? Like think about its ability. Think about a tree. How does a tree survive? Or let's ask a better question. Why does a tree survive? Somebody raise their hand, give me an answer, do something. Why does a tree survive?
Because it's part of nature.
Okay. So what about nature allows a tree to survive? Or what about a tree what about a tree and nature go together?
Adaptability.
What is it? How does a tree adapt?
By changing.
Changing what? Location? The type of tree it is?
No.
No. So then how does it adapt?
Based on its needs and the environment.
Okay. But if a tree is in the middle of the desert and there's no water, what's it going to do? No, I love what you're saying. Keep going, because this is now you're thinking. If there's no water, what does the tree do? What are its options? So I'm going to give you the short answer because we're getting close. I want to be able to let people ask questions. A tree only survives because it only desires to be a tree.
Oscar the Chad either die or find water.
Well, a tree only, how do you find water? A tree can't move. Tree can't walk. A tree only survives because it only desires to be a tree. What does that mean? Yeah, but it don't matter how big your roots are. They don't go around the whole planet. And if there ain't no water in 5 square miles, guess what? So then how does a tree survive? It's not surviving because of anything on its own. It's surviving earlier because of nature. Well, nature is a consciousness. How do we know? Well, don't the seasons go around? Leaves fall off, leaves come on, and everything else, right? So then it is one with nature. Well, what is it one in nature with? Right? Consciousness. In the sense of a tree only has one identity, itself. Nature knows that a tree can't do much for itself. So it has to take care of it. So it provides it with water. It doesn't have to go find its own food, doesn't have to go find its own water or anything else. So a tree will grow to its full height, whatever that tree is. Doesn't come up short. If it's supposed to be 20 feet, it's 20 feet, unless something happens. Something cuts it, someone cuts it, it's a hurricane, whatever else it is, so to speak. It is maintained and cared for by nature. Humanity, us, all of us humans, are the only ones that dictate our future. A tree does not. A wolf and a lion do not. Birds do not. They have to fly for, hey man, about that time, going to fly for the south, time to get going. Monarch butterflies, time to serve that turn of year, time to get going. They're living on instinct. They're living on a prescribed set of rules, values, behaviors that happen without their permission. They don't have a say. So what makes them great is that they grow to the fullness of themselves because they only have one identity. I'm a tree. I don't want to be a cat, a dog, a rat, a kitten. I don't want to be anything else. I'm only conscious of being this thing. So as a result, nature takes care of it because it's limited. It's locked into one identity. Humanity, right, is I am in a physical body. So I am, right, can be anything. Humanity, therefore, we can be anything. How many jobs have we had? Different ones. Tree only got one job. It only has one consciousness. It can only be one thing. You could be a doctor, a lawyer, basketball player, father, husband, wife, cheerleader. You could be 1,000 different things. But as a result of that, we can be a lot. And guess what else we can be? Nothing. We can be everything and nothing. Because our I am, our consciousness, right, is the creator of nature. So nature can't do anything for us except what we've set it up to do. Everything else, all the dogs and birds and everything else are under nature. They're not the creator of it, they're under it. So they have to abide by it. They have to fly they have to fly south for the winter. Time to get on up out of here. You don't have a say. Why do you think there's a zoo? And who's in charge of the zoo? Humanity. We have the weakest body of all the things. I don't want to see no lion coming down the street. Not really. Can't outrun a cheetah. Don't want to get into a scrap with a bear. Then how do we have a zoo? Because our power is not physical, it's here. We have the highest level of consciousness. We're at the penthouse in the sky. Right? So the reason why we can succeed and fail is because we have the ability. We can be great or be nothing. The reason these succeed every time is because they only have one locked consciousness. They don't get to choose it or change it. We get to choose and change. So we can choose and change anything. But that is why we are the creator of our lives. We have to get it. Not because it's harder, but just because we are the owner. The owner has to take out the insurance. The owner has to, get the business license. The owner has to buy the products. The owner has to do all these different things. That's who we are. But the owner makes the most money. The owner chooses the name. The owner is the one who chooses what this business is. That's us. Right? That's us. We are the only living thing that can change and choose what we are. That's the power we have. Right? So if we don't do it, it doesn't get done. A tree doesn't have to do anything. I got one right outside my window. It's been there for a couple years. Ain't gone inside. They ain't moved down the block to get a little more shade. It's in the same spot. Same spot. Right? All right. Last, I'm gonna try to do this in 5 minutes so I can take a couple questions. So I talked about two things maybe a couple weeks ago in developing your I, right? Who you believe yourself to be, your abilities and your capabilities. I talked about two things. I talked about meditation, right? And I talked about affirmations. Now, really quickly, meditation, we talked about, right? Wiping the board, sitting down, getting quiet and wiping your mind, not taking any thought in there with you, just literally sitting down and getting quiet. Like I said before, when you first start doing it, it'll seem like a zoo and a wild animal park because things will be running across your mind and I got to do this. Oh, I forgot this bill. I got to call somebody. Oh, my kids are calling me, whatever else it is. In order to really enjoy our space, whether it's a house or a car or our mind, we have to clean it. After we can't have last year's stuff just sitting around, last year's McDonald's wrappers and our old high school Letterman's coat just sitting up in there. Like after a while, we got to clean some things in order to make room for the new and the good. So one, meditation, cleaning your mind. That's the first thing. Just sit down quietly and just let the thoughts go by like an observer in a parade. Just let them go by, but don't entertain them. Just let them go. It's just letting your mind drain of a whole lot of old thoughts and a whole lot of just stuff that maybe not even necessary. So that's one. And then two, in that time, as you get more familiar with it, you start to feel ideas. You'll start to get certain ideas and things that will come to you because there's room for them now. So one, clear your mind. Two, then you can also spend some time putting things into your mind, imagining yourself to be something, choosing what you want to become, seeing yourself as that. Just like you see yourself broke, like you see yourself on Monday, like, damn, I hate this job. You imagining that. You're looking forward to that. It ain't real. You ain't work. Nobody, you don't even see your boss. And you already mad and it's Saturday. Man, I can't make it. It's Monday. You already at Monday and it's Saturday. You imagine that. So the second part of it is take time in your mind to choose what you're imagining to see yourself as. See yourself with the bigger business. What would happen if you had a bigger business? What would be happening? See yourself with more customers. See yourself with better reviews. See yourself with your bank account bigger. See yourself with all you're looking around your store and it's empty because they didn't bought everything. See yourself. Imagine that's what is creating your physical experience. So that's two things. Affirmations. The second thing. Affirmations. One, just like rote memory. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. It still is 4. Yeah, okay, it's 4. 2 is 4. I don't want to mess you guys up, but no judgment. 2 times 2 is 4. You say it over and over, right? You're saying something to yourself just because faith comes by hearing. Your belief in something comes by repetition. That's the way your conscious mind works. It doesn't care whether it's true or not. It only cares that you keep saying it, that you keep telling it it's true. That's why we try to give our kids or people we know, we try to give them good advice or self-esteem. You can't give people self-esteem, but people we try because we don't know any better. But we try to tell them nice things about themselves because we believe the more we say it, the more they'll internalize it and act on it, hopefully. So one is rote memory. Tell yourself things about yourself. I have good health. I'm in perfect health. I have great relationships. All the world means me well and treats me kindly. Everything I set my hand to prospers. Whatever else you want to say to yourself, right? You may say 2 or 3 things over and 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 over, right? Number 2, right? So just rote memory, just saying things to yourself. Number 2, conversation. You talking anyway. Why don't you say something that's actually going to help you? Why don't you say something to yourself that's good for you? Why don't you just have good conversations with yourself? Like, man, I'm doing better every day. Man, my health is getting better. I'm doing well. Like, you have conversations with yourself. You having them anyway. Like, man, this money never lasts long enough. Man, I can't believe I lost that $10. Man, this thing ain't, man, when this thing gonna go on sale, I can't afford it. We're talking to ourselves anyway. So learn how to have good conversation with yourself. Good, positive, productive, uplifting conversation. You are the creator of your life. What you say matters. You shall declare and decree a thing, and it shall come to pass. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those that love it will eat the fruit thereof. What you say matters because of who you are. What you say matters because of who you are. And we say all kind of stupid stuff to ourselves because we don't realize who we are. Right? So that's two. Next thing. All right, so I'll probably go 5 minutes over because I want to give people a chance for questions, but I want to finish this. I want to introduce two new things to you guys really quick. I do this with people I work with, but I started it with my daughter. So when you go to a restaurant, you order, right? You don't go in there and just sit down and say, give me what you got. You order, right? I'm just shortening things up. You order. Well, how many people when we wake up in the morning do we order our day? Or do we just show up and just wake up and say, damn, I hope it goes well? Right? When you order, after you order, your order turns into an expectation of what you're going to eat, how it's going to taste, how it's going to feel, how it's going to be. So the first thing I'm telling you is set up now some expectations. Expectations of the day. So it goes like this. I'll say to her, I'll say mind. And she'll say whatever her expectation of her mind is. My mind is always healthy, or my mind is clear and clean and sharp. I'll say friends. I have great friends, and they're always kind to me, nice to me. Friend. I'm a great friend. I'm always kind to my friends, nice to my friends. Homework. I always do good homework. It's always clear. It's either early or on time. She's setting an expectation about her relationship with something. How she expects it to be. She's ordering it. Not just her whole day, but certain aspects of her day. This is what I expect my experience with this thing to be. Set your expectations just like you do when you go to a restaurant. You go to a restaurant, you order, and then you wait and you anticipate and you're excited about what they're bringing you. That food's going to be out of your body in 2 or 3 days, but you won't let somebody just come give you what they want. But you'll wake up and go out in the world and just hope it works out. That's dumb. It's counterproductive and it's destructive. No, we can't do it. Right? Set your expectations of the day. What do you expect your day to be like in overall today, or in this area, or whatever else it is? So those are some quick examples. Expectations. Do it with yourself. Do it with your spouse, significant other. Do it with your children. Set expectations. Nobody goes to the movie theater and be like, what you want me to see? Oh, nobody goes to the cafe. Hey man, what you got left? And you pay for it? Like but that's what we're doing in life. We're going out just saying, hey, what you got? And we're paying for it. And poor health, poverty, bad relationships, all kind of other craziness. Set your expectations of the day. Order your day. Make time for it. Everything that you see is created by what you don't. So if you don't make time for what you don't see yourself, don't worry, you'll be back. You'll be back when you're not feeling well, when your money ain't right, when your health ain't right, when your relationship, you'll be back. So you might as well do it early so you don't have to come back. Like when I used to go out early, want to hurry up and play, and I get my homework done quick, and then my mom looked at it and be like, you got to come back inside. Same thing. So we're trying to avoid that. That's number one. Expectations. I'll go into this more next time, but that's number one. Two, magnify. I was riding in the car with my daughter a little while ago, and we were riding halfway and she forgot her homework. And so she was like, Dad, I forgot my homework. So I said, do you need it today? She said, yeah. So we were about 15 minutes away from the house, and we turned around. So we went, got back to homework. Now, when you forget your homework, or when you forget something, when something happens, you have two options. You can magnify. You have two options. When something happens, you're gonna magnify something. What you like, or what you don't like. So I said to her, listen, you have two choices. You can either magnify the fact that you didn't remember right away, or you can magnify the fact that you eventually remember. Whichever one of these you choose to magnify will increase in your life the next time. So if you forget your wallet, or you forget your purse at home and you're 10 minutes away, instead of saying, oh, I always forget my purse. I knew I was going to forget my purse. You're now saying, I want more of that. You're magnifying that. So that's going to grow in your life. You're going to forget more often because you're giving that thought and that feeling, you're impressing that as reality. You're saying, give me more of that. Or you can say, you know what, I remembered. Oh, thank goodness, I always have such a good memory. So we did that. About 4 days later, we were walking and we got about a minute from the house. And she said, oh, I forgot my paper. I need to go get something. But it went from 15 minutes to 1 minute because she magnified her memory. And she said, oh, I remember. And so 15 minutes the week before to 1 minute at the end of the next week. So my point is that whatever you magnify, you're saying, I want to supersede. I want to be the biggest thing in my life. So she magnified her memory. And so now you can take that as a state. You can now say, let me take 5 things. So every day I want you guys to do these 2 things, expectations. What do you expect about from your mind or any area of your health? What are you expecting from these areas? Right? What do you want? What do you expect from these areas? What are you ordering? And then you're gonna take at most 5. At most. After that, it gets a little hairy and stuff like that. I think 5 magnifications. It means you're going to magnify 5 things in your life that you want to increase today, that you want to see some type of expression today. So you may say, so I'll say to her, okay, what are your magnifications? She'll say, I magnify, she'll say something like, and she can pick, I magnify my health. And some things you just may say a statement, or some things you may go on with it. I magnify my health. Or I magnify my health. It's good. I'm always healthy. I feel good today. I feel healthy. I feel strong. I magnify my mind. I magnify my friendships. I'm picking an area of life that I want to see have an increased expression in my world today. And just like anything else, you get better at it. And you'll see it start to become more apparent in your life. Right? Magnify the things you want to grow. Stop magnifying, focusing your intention and your attention on stuff you don't want to get bigger. Stop being so passionate about the stuff that sucks. Put your intention, your attention, and your energy and your focus on what you want to increase. Let the dead bury the dead. Cut your attention off. Unplug your I amness from the losing, attach it to the winning, and watch the winning grow and the losing die. So 2 things, expectations, 5 magnifications. Expectations, you can do as many as you want. You're just talking about something and how your relationship to it. Magnifications, I magnify this. I magnify, smooth trip up and back to work today. I magnify whatever, right? But you say it with some, like you got some sense and you want this to be in your life. You're creating something. You're saying, I want this to be in my world. All right? All right. We got a couple minutes. Questions? Any questions or comments or any questions or anything like that?
Feel free to unmute if you want to ask a question or use the chat. We're a couple of minutes over, but we're almost there.
Yeah, I want to really get those last 2 things in because I want to send you guys off with those 2 things today. And I would just want to see if you guys have any questions before we go. Yeah.
Well, no one's putting anything in the chat or saying anything. But definitely thank you everyone for coming and participating. Participation is key and it helps everyone's growth. So I definitely appreciate everyone who spoke and entered, in the chat. I think everyone that's left here definitely participated. Dawn put in the chat, this was a great session. Thank you for putting it all out there. We have fun doing this. We have fun doing this, definitely. I know Coach Lucky's having a great time. So thank you for showing up and thank you for participating. Again, for those who signed up through our website, the Mental Academy, I'll put it in the chat just in case. You'll receive the emails for our Saturday calls automatically, but if you want to like add it to your calendar and have that, that set up for you, you can register every week. We're still working out, automations. So we're getting there.
Mhm. Well, good. Well, wonderful. Thank you all for coming. Like I said, take the information as best you can. It's a lot of it's specific, but it's still general because I'm not talking to one of you specifically. I will give more in detail if I'm talking to one of you and work with one of you specifically, because you have your own, everybody has their own strengths, weaknesses, things they need to bring along in order to become the person they want to be. But what we're really doing here is building the person that can be anything you want to be, by learning how to shift your mind into the person who is that thing, who has that thing, who does that thing. That's the difference between what you want to be and what you are. It's a shift in mind. It's not 4 jobs. It's not lifting weights. It's not, in the sense of, it's not the physical first. It's always a shift in mind, because the mind is always guiding and guarding your physical, right? So we want to make sure that you learn is really just a mental shift. Once you shift mentally, it will govern and dictate all your actions. That a person that has what you want, this is how they act. You won't have to figure it out, just because once you assume you are something and you keep that assumption and you keep walking in that assumption, you will become that person. It will harden into a fact, right? An assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. So you just have to keep the assumption. Your reason may deny it, your senses may deny it, your world may deny it, your body may deny it, your health may deny it, your money may deny it. But if you persist in the feeling of, I am wealthy, I am this thing. Last thing I'll say in last 10 seconds is, this is, I am wealthy. This is an expression. It's an expression. It's the outcome. This is the parent. This is the cause. I am wealth. This is the expression of the state. This is first. Once you're this, you will express that. Right? So just, it's a shift in mind, right? From where you are to where you want to be. All right. Well, thanks for everyone. Thanks for everyone for all your time. Appreciate it. You can go on the website, stuff like that, and look at different things or whatever else it is. And have a great week. We may go live sometime this week. We'll let you know if we have some time and things like that. But have a great week. Have a great day. Thanks for coming. Thanks for participating. And we'll catch up later.